Could be.
I met the local beggar. Barrow was her name.
She's here again. Oh, confound it. But we'll get rid of her somehow, you'll see.
What? But
You didn't give her any money, I hope? Rabble like that are like stray cats. Feed them once, and you'll never get rid of them.
No, she just told me you might know where I could get some armor.
Armor? Unless you want to join the local watch, I don't think I can help you. Unless maybe Radovan, the blacksmith from Takov. We might sell you something.
But Barrow told me you might know of something better. The armor of some Brunswick?
All that? Lad, 'tis but a legend.
What legend?
It's hard to explain. There are actually 2 legends, or even 3. Well, it doesn't really matter. Why are you so interested anyway? Fine armor like that belongs in the hands of a knight.
That may be true. But even the finest armor has to pass through the hands of the master blacksmith who forged it. I might be only an apprentice, but that's all the more reason I should take an interest in such things and learn something.
Aiming a bit high, starting with knightly armor, aren't you? How about starting with horseshoe nails, eh?
Excuse me?
All right, no need to lose your temper, I'll tell you. In short, they say the armor of ancient Bohemian prince Brunswick is hidden here, waiting for some valiant knight to find it. I don't believe it, of course. After all, I'm educated. But you'd be surprised how many fools have set off to find it.
Who exactly was this Brunswick?
You don't know, lad? Educate yourself. Brunswick was a famous Czech prince who won the lion for our country's coat of arms.
Really? How is it that I've never heard of him?
Perhaps because he never existed. Prince Vladislav II got the lion for our coat of arms for helping Emperor Frederick I, known as Redbeard.
But you just said that...
Brunswick is just a legend, but a quite lovely one, I'll give you that.
Could you recount for me the legend of Brunswick?
Well, why not? Brunswick was a valiant Bohemian prince. He lived in a time when our country had an eagle on its coat of arms, but that wasn't good enough for him. So he decided to head out into the world and gain the mark of a more powerful animal.
A man after my own heart.
You may think so, but his wife was none too happy. Her name was Ludmilla, and she begged Brunswick 100 times to stay home, but he just couldn't be persuaded. Still, he loved her very much, so he took her ring and told her that unless someone came and showed her that ring during the next 7 years, she should wait for his return. But if he failed to return after 7 years, that would mean he would never return.
Then what happened next?
Brunswick's party set out to sea, but didn't get far. They were drawn in by an island with a mysterious mountain of amber that holds all ships and prevents them from leaving. Over time, the men on the deserted island died of starvation, leaving only Brunswick, who noticed that once a year a great bird called No came to the island to hunt. And so the clever knight hid in his horse's hide at just the right time. And when the bird came, it mistook him for prey and carried him away. So Brunswick wandered on. After some time on the road, the prince came across something unprecedented. A duel between a lion and a 9-headed dragon. So, what do you think Brunswick did at that moment?
Well, considering what he later added to the coat of arms, I expect he helped the lion, eh?
Smart. Brunswick rushed to help the lion, and together they killed the dragon. And from that time on, they were stalwart companions. The lion even followed him all the way back to Bohemia. Except, by then, it was already too late. It had already been exactly 7 years to the day since Brunswick set off on his journey. His wife, Ludmilla, who had until that time valiantly resisted all suitors, was about to remarry. But at the wedding feast, Brunswick managed to drop the ring in her cup. So it all turned out well. For Brunswick, that is. Not so for Ludmilla's new groom, but the lion took care of that.
Where did Brunswick's armor come from?
It is said that George the Lion of Württemberg brought it here. He was the nephew of Lord Chenyak of Württemberg, who built Trusky. This George spent a lot of time with King Wenceslas. A suspiciously long amount of time, if you know what I mean.
I think I get the picture.
And it is said that one day, a lion escaped from the king's menagerie, and George overpowered it with his bare hands and laid it at the king's feet, still alive. As a reward, Wenceslas gave young Württemberg the name Lion and the armor of his ancestor, Prince Brunswick. Only Sir George didn't live to enjoy it for long. He caught the plague at a tournament abroad and died on his way back to his king, specifically while visiting his uncle here at Trusky. Of course, the king wanted his armor back, but Lord Chenyak didn't want to give it to him, claiming he had the hereditary right to it. It looked like Wenceslas would lay siege to Trusky, but fortunately Lord Chenyak was completely destitute by then, so he sold all of Trusky and the armor to the king.
Chenyak was broke. How come?
Because of building his castle. Trusky may be impressive, but it's too expensive for a nobleman. Even the king had difficulty paying for such a castle.
Well, if the king was so endeared with Brunswick's armor, why did he leave it here?
Because he didn't have any choice, my friend. He never found the armor. Lord Chenyak was as cunning as a fox. While he did leave the armor here, he never told anyone where. It's said he hid it so it could only be found by a true knight. Each piece in a different place. Or so they say round these parts. Who knows if there's any truth to the tale?
And do you know where I could find Brunswick's armor?
Yes, lad, if it even really exists. But I do have a little bit of advice for you. Sir Chenyak, who they say hid the armor, left behind a riddle. It's a test that must be passed by whoever wants to find it. Do you want to hear it?
And how did that riddle go?
Wait, how was it? I've got it. Take your leave of crone and maiden, standing tall behind the gates. Boldly go towards true midnight. In caverns cold your prize awaits. Pass through the all of forest kings, hidden deep from hunter's gaze. Standing tall, 2 guards of stone, behind whom yearned for treasure lays. Between them stands a mighty rock, a subtle niche, yet deeper still, a place to give one's art to God. Behold, my armor gleaming still.
The crone and the maiden towards midnight. We've got east, west, midday, midnight. Bloody hell. I think I know where it is.
Really? Well, seems you've got something between your ears then, lad. And you know what? I've got something else for you. Sir George, who previously owned the armor, wanted to have a nice poleaxe made in Prague too, but he died of the plague before he could do it. I'm not too certain about Brunswick and his armor, but this is certainly true because I have a copy of George's order here. Here, take it as a keepsake. And now go. What would you like?
What do you have for...
Take care then, and thanks for nothing.
I'd like to report an ambush. Some scoundrels attacked my lord's retinue and killed our men.
That's a serious matter. Where is your lord?
Well, he left.
I don't understand why he's not lodging a complaint himself, and why not directly at the castle. He has that right as a lord.
It's a long story. My lord got very angry and then went missing.
Sorry, fella, but I'm not sure whether you're making it up or lying to me. But if you were telling the truth, why don't you bring your lord here and we can talk it all over calmly? I'm sorry, lad, but until then, I've got more important things to do.
I need to speak with Sir Otto.
With the Royal Chamberlain? Are you yanking my official pizzle?
Why not?
I'd like to talk to him too, boy, but he's still in Prague. He's hardly ever here. Chamberlain Ulrich is in charge of things.
And where do I find him?
Where do you think? Up in the castle.
But they won't let me in there.
What do you want me to do about it? That's your problem. I'm not going to put in a word for you. I hardly know you.
Excuse me, I'm looking for the man who was in the pillory with me yesterday. Have you seen him?
I can't help you with that. You'll have to find him yourself.
I'd like to buy something. Where can I find some merchants around here?
If it's a tradesman you're after, most of them live here in the village, of course. Your best bet is to ask our merchant Jörg. He knows everyone. I'm sure he'll help you.
What's new, bailiff?
Nothing special. Fortunately, Troskovitz is a quiet village. It's peaceful here, and the war has avoided us so far, thank God. Just here and there a brawl in the tavern or the neighbour's errant cow. Well, that's how it was until recently, at least.
And what happened?
What do you think? It started with that nomadic riffraff, theft of hens and sheep, then continued with ambushes on the road. And then the wolves started to come in from the forests on account of the poachers killing off their prey. Oh, and then our master Chamberlain Ulrich. Oh, my God. But that's no business of yours, understand?
I understand. That's your business, bailiff. What's new in the county, Master Bailiff?
I heard something's going on in Takov again. Project the Innkeeper is probably coming up with some mischief to pull on the Zhelyevites. Will they never cut it out? Their bickering is making work for me. And now I've been visited by one of the local peasants. He said he found more fresh graves behind his field, just below the village, along the road to Nabokov.
What do you mean, more? You sound like this isn't the first time.
That we found someone buried here? Don't even ask. I've been digging up bodies ever since that bandit gang started running rampant. Most of them are von Burgo's men. Also, if it wasn't bad enough, that gang of bandits is rampaging through the region. Now someone's stealing cabbage from the peasants. What a disaster.
Cabbage?
Aye, and the peasants won't stop bugging me about it. I was just visited by a peasant from Zadar. He's been talking my ears off for God knows how long. Say, do I really have to do this? Do I have the time to look for some moron stealing cabbages? And that's about it.
That sounds interesting. Thank you. What's new in the county?
I was just visited by one of the local peasants. He said he found more fresh graves behind his field, just below the village, along the road to Nabokov.
What do you mean, more? You sound like this isn't the first time.
That we found someone buried here? Don't even ask. I've been digging up bodies ever since that bandit gang started running rampant. Most of them are von Burgo's men. Hey, you shouldn't be hanging around here, friend.
God bless.
Welcome. You can buy everything you need from me, but excuse the selection.
A few days ago, when I was returning with new goods, the horse got spooked and my wagon tipped into the pond. I salvaged some things, but the rest is now in the pond.
Were there any valuables in there?
You bet. Lord Simeon ordered all sorts of delicacies and precious spices from me for the wedding feast. And for Taylor Bartuszak, I was carrying expensive fabrics to make dresses for the occasion. If you only knew how much coin I spent on this.
And where did the wagon tip?
On the roads near the Katchak Pond, beyond Jelioff. You can still find it there. I can't tell you how much it still pisses me off. But what can I do?
Sorry to hear that.
Me too. But what can I do? So, what will it be?
I wanted to ask you, what's on the other side of that nearest hill? I'm not from here, and I'd like to get my bearings. You look like a merchant to me, so you probably know best.
Ja, natürlich, you're not from here. Everyone around here knows that, after what happened in Betty's Tavern. Aber das ist deine Sache. That is your business, lad. Also, what do you want to know?
Where can I find a church round here? I'm surprised you don't even have a small chapel in the village.
If you want. Die Rettung deiner Seele, junger Mann. You have to go through the forest to Aujetz and to St. Catherine. Herr von Berge does have a chapel in his castle, but it's not for commoners like you. We do not go there either. Und warum auch? The gravedigger Ignatius takes care of burials outside the village, and weddings usually take place without a local priest. No one wants to pay the church more than they have to. Das ist ja wohl klar.
Can I find other merchants around here?
Zum Glück nicht, junger Mann. I'm the only merchant here around Trotsky. Oh, natürlich. There are plenty of tradesmen here who sell their goods. There is Bartosz, the tailor. He lives at the other end of the village. The apothecary, Emmerich, lives across from me. They are hand in glove, or more like hat in hat.
What do you mean by that?
Nichts weiter. Just that they play at being educated men. Along with the scribe Geibel, they are always studying some Latin tracts. But of the three, perhaps only Geibel knows Latin, if he really does at all.
Is there anyone else here?
Oh, yeah. Beyond the tailor's house on the edge of the village is where Bashka the butcher lives. Opposite the Rathaus is the carpenter. The rest of the villagers are just peasants, and you are already familiar with the tavern.
Where do you go for wares? What's the closest town?
The closest is Sobotka, the biggest Gichin, what you call Gichin. And farther north there is Turnov. Half of that one belongs to Herr von Bergo.
Is it far?
Das kommt darauf an. It takes all day on foot. Wenn du was brauchst, the goods I have here will have to do you. I do not think you will get to the town anytime soon.
Is there anything I should avoid around here?
Certainly. Stirring up trouble and sticking your nose into other people's business. Here in the village, we don't care much for outsiders. If any do come, they better behave.
I understand that, but we were ambushed by bandits. So I wanted to ask if you know anything about that.
Ach so, ich verstehe. The woods have been full of all manner of rebel recently. That is all because of the war. Verdammte Schurken.
So you've already heard about these bandits?
About those ones in particular, or about others. They are all just gleichen Scheißkerle. Every time I go to the town, the bailiff must send an armed escort with me. It makes life difficult.
So the roads aren't safe?
Ja, das kann man wohl sagen. Herr von Bergo should do something about it at last. But Herr Otto spends more time in Prague than here. And Chamberlain Ulrich... lassen wir das.
I'll have a look at the ware.
to do something about that price.
Gut.
Do you accept?
That's too much. Why? Das war ein gutes Geschäft. Auf Wiedersehen.
von Bergov's men. Another of von Bergov's men? But this one has a cross.
What is it you need?
What was that sound? Hail, good man. Want to warm up a little?
Greetings, sweet maiden. How are you faring, girl?
Well, you know how it is. We minstrels are always on the move. Times are lean and folk need a laugh.
You're not wrong. The poorer people get, the more they drink and sin, and laugh while they're at it.
The poor man sins, the noble sins twice, but the monk and priest are the masters of vice.
What's your name, minstrel girl?
They call me Dancer, but I go by many other names.
And can I hear them?
If you come by after a show, maybe I'll let you give me one yourself, handsome. But now, alas, there's no time to perform. We have to leave here in all haste.
Why the rush?
Our tricks and jests rub some respectable old farts up the wrong way at the town hall. Our tomcat entertained the bailiff's wife, in the hay, and he caught them in the act.
I bet he didn't find it funny, did he? And they say there's no place for sin anymore.
Indeed. The bailiff don't take to his pizzle being yanked.
I'm afraid it is time to part, minstrel girl.
Farewell, handsome. Maybe our paths will cross again.
I hope luck will be on my side today. The Lord be with you. What do you need?
What happened to you?
I'm in big trouble.
How so?
I lost a letter. A very important letter. I was supposed to deliver it to my master by tonight.
What was in the letter?
I have no idea what it said. For one thing, it was a secret, and for another, I can't read. But it was my master's beloved who sent it. That's why it was so important.
Oh, so it could just as easily have been a lewd verse.
I don't really care what was in it. The point is, I don't have it.
Would you like me to help you look for it?
There's no point now. I've been on the road for 2 days as it is. We'll never make it by tonight.
Do you know where you might have lost it?
I haven't the faintest idea. It must have slipped out somewhere along the way.
You should have been more careful with it. Losing the one thing you're supposed to deliver.
I know. So I forgot to check my bag this morning, all right? But now it's gone, and I'm fucked.
I have to be going. I hope you find the letter.
Me too. Because if I don't, I'm in for a lashing.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Wait! I have an idea. Punch me in the face.
What?
Smack me in the gob. I'll say I was ambushed on the way and they took the letter.
Are you sure?
I'm sure. I'd rather take a couple of punches from you than a lashing from my master. I can tell you to stop when I've had enough. But he wouldn't. So you get why it's better for me to be slapped around by you, right?
Very well then. Defend yourself. Or not. It's up to you. You ready?
I am. Bloody hurts. This is tricky, your job.
That was enough.
Do you think that's enough?
Oh, I definitely. I'm sore all over. Oh, my mouth most of all.
Glad to be of help then. Take care.
God be with you. You must be parched. What say you have a drink with us?
God be with you.
I bought a lovely U-boat, yeah.
I don't have a lot of time, but I'm always up for a game of dice and a flagon of wine.
I hear you. Never any harm in that. Anyway, that's about all we can do right now, bugger it. Nothing for it but to perch here and wait for our tree.
What do you mean for your tree? You're waiting for it to chop itself down?
Actually, I mean, wait until we can get to work on it.
But what's the hold-up with your tree?
In short, we found a perfect oak for a new mill wheel. Only some horsens set up camp beneath it for the night. And now we're waiting for them to haul arse. Bugger it.
What's your actual line of work?
Me and Yira here are axemen. We make our way round the mills fixing their wheels.
Yeah, and spending half the day sitting by the wayside, eh?
Whoa now, laddie. It takes a lot of walking to find the right tree. There's a lot more to it than you think, bugger it.
Why don't you just send those reprobates packing? You've got hands like shovels, and you're scared of a few vagrants?
Vagrants? Hell, man, they're armed to the teeth. They'd kill us, bugger it. And don't stoke my fire, lad, or else you'll see what these shovels of mine can do to your face.
Come on, then.
Let's see what you're made of, lad. Go fuck yourself. Oh, Christ. Come on, again. Not like that, for fuck's sake. Didn't see that coming, eh? Come on, again. Go on, parry. Christ, I'm hit! That was something! Go on, parry. Oh, Christ. Not like that, for fuck's sake. Come on, again. Oh, Christ. Go fuck yourself. Thought you were going to teach me how to fight, lad. But that was a pretty good fight. Hope your back's not too sore on your travels.
would you like?
Excuse me, I'm looking for a friend of mine. He's not from round here, but
Let me guess. A dirty ruffian who ain't got a groschen to his name but acts like he owns the bloody place.
he was here then.
Aye, he was. He was larging it up good and proper, and then he found some lads who paid his bill, unfortunately.
What do you mean by that? Why unfortunately?
Because they're right ruffians who are always up to no good. But still, birds of a feather, eh? In the end, they left like best pals, but got no idea where they went.
What's going on around here, innkeeper?
Vostatek, Lord von Berghoff's huntsman, is a regular here. He might have some work for you. He's got a cottage near Vidlark Pond. So if you know your way round the woods, you could go and offer him your help. But I hope he hasn't started drinking somewhere else. He's my best customer. One more thing. You're not going to believe this, but 2 local lads claim they found a water goblin's treasure.
You have a water goblin here.
It would be a wonder if we didn't, with all the ponds around. He's got a hut nearby. If you follow the right bank of the Rock Tower Pond, you'll find it hidden in the reeds.
Where did you say the water goblin's hut was?
If you follow the right bank of the rock...
And what did they find there? Are you sure they didn't make it up?
I thought so too at first. They're foolish lads, so I wouldn't be surprised. But then they ordered wine and paid with silver. Their purse was jingling with groschen.
Would you happen to know where I could find these lads?
They often swim at the other side of the Rock Tower Pond. There's a pier there by the dam. That's their spot.
Any other news?
Recently, a bunch of charcoal burners who have their kilns on the hill above the Kerchak Pond came here to have a beer. I started talking to them and they told me they almost didn't make it.
Why?
They said a pack of wolves came after them.
Aren't wolves afraid of people?
That's what I thought too. It's strange.
Did they tell you where it happened?
In a gorge above the Rock Tower Pond. They noticed the wolves watching them from the rocks. If you climb up those rocks, you'll be able to see the whole pond from there.
Did they tell you how large the pack was?
They mentioned 3 wolves, but God knows if that's all of them.
Do you have any more news?
By the way, we've put together this wee fight club here. Would you like to try it?
That sounds good. What's it about?
It actually came about by chance when the miller Crazel and me bet on who has the stronger hired hands. Then other blokes from the village joined in, and it's become somewhat of a tradition. By the way, old Olbram from Zheleoth keeps complaining about the Takovites. If you go and see him, I'm sure he'll tell you more about it. But, well, he takes a bit of getting used to, though.
Oh? What do you mean?
You'll see. I mean, here, and that's pretty much everything.
Thanks, innkeeper. That sounds interesting. Tell me more about these fights of yours.
It's really quite simple. You bet some money and fight against 3 blokes in turn. Our first fighter is Hans, a local musician. He may not look like much, but he knows a few tricks. Then we have Bohunek here. He works with horses, so he has more than enough strength to spare. And then there's Fiala, a good bloke, but Dorothy, his wife, has forbidden him from fighting.
I'd like to try the fights here.
Why not? But it won't be for free. If you don't have enough money, try to go and see Crazel at the mill. He recently bragged he was going to send someone here, but no one has come yet. Maybe you can come to some agreement together.
Fine. I'll go and see him, and we'll see.
Praise the Lord.
What do you need? Hurry up.
I'll have a look at the wares.
Why are you wasting my time if you don't want anything then? Eh? God.
Philistine tongue offends thee, cut it out! Return to God! Pray and beg him to free you from base desires. Beg him for forgiveness for being brought into this world.
God be with you.
What do you have for sale?
God be with you.
Greetings.
What are you two talking about then?
A peasant like you would never understand.
Well, looks can be deceiving. If I weren't so kind-hearted, you might annoy me with talk like that.
Wise counsel indeed. What's your name?
My name is Henry.
Then sit, noble Enrico, and give your verdict on our dispute.
Oi, don't be shy. Come and sit with us.
It's Henry. H-E-N... whatever.
Ah, any tanner or bathhouse boy could be called Henry. Enrico is nobilissimo.
Oh, for the love of God. Will you just tell me what you were discussing?
Ah, it's just that my dear friend George here is a vulgar louse who knows as much about the art of poetry as a baying donkey.
To tell the truth, my last encounter with verse didn't end all that well.
Really? Come on, let's discuss it over a beer.
Man to man, poet to poet.
Well, I wouldn't exactly say I was...
Sit.
So, are you going to tell me what you're talking about?
It's about nothing less than the very essence of the art of poetry.
And also about the fact that Michael here hasn't got his oats for ages and it's got his brain in a twist.
Kindly ignore our friend George here. He's been a simple soul ever since he was dropped on his head as a baby.
Freedom. I figured out poetry ain't to be found in inspiration from the muse. All the truth in the world is right there in ale, roast pig, and fucking.
To the point where fornication and drinking leave no time for actual composing. Better to forego the pleasures of the flesh and give oneself to art. Onorate l'altissima poeta.
Aye, aye. Keep your hair on, mate. As I said, he's not in his right mind. He once met an Italian poet, and ever since he thinks he's Dante Alighieri.
Alighieri, you dolt. So what do you think, Enrico? Where should a poet seek inspiration?
Well, I rather doubt it's to be found in beer or some wench's cleavage. Those might be nice to look at, but an artist should seek inspiration in higher things.
My very words. Let's drink to that.
However you look at it, you, my friend, as a worldly,
And highborn,
clever,
experienced,
intrepid,
unique.
in short, just the right fella,
You might be able to help us out with something.
What are you after?
Enrico, we are in need of an adventurer.
My name's Henry. H-E-N... something...
In short, Enrico, we're in need of an adventurer, a man of action, a man of goodwill, a man of knowledge, a man,
A fucking good fella.
a fellow who helps his fellow man, aspiring minstrels.
If only you knew, mate, what genius is sleeping in our throats. Songs just waiting for a voice to raise you to the heights of glory.
Imagine it. An ode to Henry, the hapless, hoe-wielding hero harassing the heartless hordes of
The humans?
That's it! Hark, Henry the Lionheart! The only thing missing for you to achieve glory is...
A loot! We need a loot!
All right, but where would I even get a thing like that?
In the words of the poet, una volta corre il cane e una altra la lepre. He who seeks shall find. Or something like that.
And finding it won't be hard. We've done a bit of snooping, and there's only one in these parts.
It's hanging all forlorn on a wall at the carpenters in Troskowitz. The house directly opposite the Rathaus.
It ain't no use to him, but he won't sell it, the tight ass.
While if it were in our hands...
In our hands, it will sing like a nun on Sunday.
And it will be the torch lighting our way from this provincial purgatory to the gates of Kuttenberg.
Torch? Shit, you want to fucking burn it?
It's a metaphor, you ignorant oaf.
All right, I'll see what I can do. Please just quieten down for a bit.
Good day. Are you blind?
I'm dedicating my life to
Mother of
unrequited
God!
love.
Did you get hit by a horse?
He's gone fucking cuckoo. Hear that, folks?
Get lost, you beggar.
Let's talk about the price.
But of course,
How's this?
That's quite... Aye. Pleasure doing business. God be with you.
are you blind?
gave you a good working over. Are you all right?
Well, this? Nah, it's nothing. But thanks for asking.
I make sure of that. You don't look too good. You should see the sawbones.
Right. That's nothing out of the ordinary for me. But thanks. I'll go and see him. You having trouble with the Takovites?
I'd say it's time to get payback for all those shenanigans up there. You look like you might be good at that sort of thing. And since you're already here, why don't you help me out? Trust me, I'll make it worth your while. What do you say?
I might be able to help. But first, I want to know what this is about.
All right, listen up. Up on that hill over there, it's Tackle. All I want you to do is to go over there and give them a taste of their own medicine. We'll make some mischief and have a few laughs while we're at it. Well then, will you help me?
Why not? I could use a good laugh.
Listen up then. Those naughty Takovite bastards have this nice maypole in their village. They're so proud of it, you'd think it's a gift from the king himself. Especially Project. Nothing would teach them a lesson better than stealing it and putting it up on display here. Just to spite them.
So all I have to do is take their maypole and bring it to you?
Aye, exactly. But be careful no one sees you take it. It'll be even better if they don't even know it's missing. Besides, if they catch you, they'll beat the shit out of you. So be careful.
All right, I'll be careful. Thanks.
Excellent. But even if something goes wrong, don't go clobbering anyone over the head, understand? All I want to do is piss Project off.
You want to do what to him?
Piss him off. You know, mess with him for stealing our maypole and our pasture. But remember, no violence, all right?
Of course. I wouldn't hurt a fly. You can count on me.
But go ahead and talk to Project. At least you'll see what an asshole he is.
About the tack-off maypole.
Ask away.
Well, you don't need me for this, do you? Just send one of your farmhands.
It's not that simple. Maypoles are a big deal in these parts. We had one here too, just like in Toscovich. But those Takovites stole ours, and our fella didn't manage to steal theirs. They got their arses kicked too. That's how it is every year. They're very proud of the maypole, but they won't be expecting a stranger like you to steal it.
I reckon they'll be guarding the maypole, eh?
Aye. They're proper careful and keep a good eye on it. You'll have to be tough and outsmart them somehow. But that shouldn't be too hard. That Ducker lot ain't the brightest. Ask around. See what's going on over there. You'll figure something out.
Do you have any idea how I'm actually supposed to steal it?
What we need is to reach. That's the important part. I reckon you'll have to climb up and chop the top off.
That's pretty high up, isn't it?
Ah, you're young and strong. You can handle it. When I was your age, I could climb all the way up the tower at Trotsky.
If you say so.
But I reckon climbing up there will take a bit of time. So be careful none of those tackle fools spot you.
Why don't you like the Takovites?
Because they're wankers. Arrogant wankers. Think they're above everyone else? but mainly they stole our pasture, which has belonged to